Hey folks, thanks for joining us today for this presentation. This is part of the Global Virtual Azure Conference. Today we're going to be talking about ML.NET, Model Builder, and building image classification models with Model Builder in Azure. We have Bree joining us today, and then she'll be talking to you a little bit more about this.
Awesome. Thanks, Luis. So this is a lightning talk, so it'll be about 10 minutes long. So I will have one slide just to give you all context about what ML.NET is. So what it is, it's our open source and cross-platform machine learning framework for .NET. It can be run anywhere .NET can run. It allows you to build and consume custom machine learning models, whether that's on-prem or in the cloud. And it's like it said, it's cross-platform, so it runs on Windows, Linux, and Mac. So this can be for both training and consumption of these ML.NET models. So the people who we're building this for are .NET developers. So what this means is that developers can use their existing .NET skills and tools to integrate machine learning into their .NET applications. And data science and machine learning expertise is not required. And with that, I will go ahead and get into the demo. All right, so what I've got here, I'm in VS 2019. I've got a Blazor WebAssembly application and also a ASP.NET Core Web API with a prediction controller, which is where this machine learning will happen. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click on my project. I'm going to add machine learning. And what this does, this brings up ML.NET Model Builder. And you can see all the different scenarios that we currently support. In this case, I'm going to do an image classification task, which supports Azure training and local training. So in the second step, after choosing the scenario, we'll choose where we want to train. So the first option is local, but in this case, we want to try out Azure. And what's really cool is this integrates with Azure Machine Learning, and you can set up everything you need, all your experiment settings right in Visual Studio without having to leave and go to the web. So once this workspace dialog comes up, you'll be able to see here. So once you select your subscription, you can see that you need to choose a workspace. And if you don't have one, you can create one right in Visual Studio in this dialog. And in this case, I'll choose one that's already created. Same for compute. You can create a new compute if you need to, or you can choose one that's already existing. In this case, I have one that's existing. And then an experiment name. So once you hit create, it'll set all that up for you and give you a summary of your experiment settings right over here. So then you can go into your data step. So for data, like I said, this is an image classification task, which means you're classifying images and putting them into different groups. And I want to do this one right here. This fashion train, and you get a data preview over here. So you can see we've got eyewear, we've got sandals, socks, and topwear. We've got about 1,000 images in each category. Socks has about 700. And then I'm going to move on to the train step. So once you hit the start training button, it'll go ahead and take all of those experiment settings you set up in the environment, and it will upload your data to Azure, and it'll start that training in Azure ML. And then once training is done, it brings down that model for you, so you can start to infer or do inference locally. I already have this since it is, I think it was 4,000 images, almost 3,800 images. I already did this training and have another instance open here. Right. Oh. Here. So this is after training was complete. You can see it found a model with this 99% accuracy and chose this model. If you wanted to, you could monitor the run in the Azure portal, or you can choose to stay in Visual Studio. And if I come back up, you can see the data that I used was the exact same. And when I go to evaluate, you can see the task that I chose, image classification, and this is about how long it took to train and download that model. And right in the UI, you can actually evaluate. So in this case, these are pictures I already took with my webcam, and you can see what it scores it as, in this case, eyewear. And then once you move on to that code step, this actually adds the projects that you need in order to consume the model. And then all you really need to do is add this code, and you can start using it. So you can see this ml.model here was generated by Model Builder. You've got the ml model.zip is your ml.net model, serialized zip file. And then the model input is that schema for what you're putting into it, in this case, the label and the file path to the image source. And then the output is going to give you a prediction and a score, which if we go back to evaluate, you can see predictions and scores. So what I'm going to do now is actually run my Blazor app. I've already integrated the machine learning into this prediction controller, which is then in this camera component, Blazor component. And I'm going to run the Blazor app and start the API as well. All right. And so I'm going to turn off my webcam on the stream so that I can have the web app access it. And we'll go to this camera capture and start the camera here. All right, so you can see me again. Hello. And I'm going to try out the model. So first one I'm going to try, let me get out of the screen to make it a little better. So I've got my nice Chacos here. I live in Seattle, so of course I own Chacos. And let's see what it classifies it as. Nice, so it did it as a sandal. I've also got my shades here. So let's try this one out. Nice, eyewear. And of course I'm wearing a t-shirt so we can see. Ooh. Shirt, nice. And then one more, I'm only doing this for ML.NET. We'll try out the sock. This one's a little tricky, but we'll see if it works. If I get out of the frame here. Oh, not quite. Sometimes it captures my shirt. There we go, socks. So then it classified it as socks there. Yeah, so that's the whole app right there. I used Model Builder to train an image classification model, harnessing the power of Azure, using Azure AutoML. And I think what I actually forgot to mention, what's happening when it's training up in the cloud is it's using Azure Automated Machine Learning or Azure AutoML to find the best model for your data. So in this case, it worked pretty well. You can see I was streaming it right on the webcam there. So how long did that take? Was that 10 minutes?
Yeah, just under. That was awesome. There you go.
Under.
So
awesome, yeah.
You were not lying when you said in 10 minutes or less.
Yeah, of course, the training took a little bit longer because I had 4,000 images, but you could see I think it was like half an hour to train all those. And actually most of that is the setup of the workspace and whatnot. So I'll exit out of here and put my camera back on here and share this just so I can put the resources up.
Very cool.
So I've got the resources here. Thank you, Luis. He helped me put together the whole Blazor web app, but originally I had it in the WPF app, and we converted it to Blazor to make it web-based. And you can see here's some of the resources that I have. So there's a few other ML.NET talks as part of the Virtual Azure Global Conference, which you can check out at the sessions. I know Luis has a few. And then two really enthusiastic, passionate community members, they actually are putting together a virtual ML.NET community conference. I put the link there as well, which you can, if you want to attend and just watch sessions, you can, or you can submit your own sessions and talk about ML.NET. And then a few other resources, which Luis will hand out after as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So for folks that are viewing, I pasted into the chat the resources. That includes the code that was used for this demo, as well as some additional resources which Bree has on screen here. So you have it all in one package. With that basically brings us to the end of our stream. Again, please feel free to check out the other sessions that are happening for the next 2 days. Feel free to submit talks to the virtual conference, and hope to see you folks again soon. Thanks.
Yep, thanks.
Bye.